Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are going to take a look at another very interesting set from Chap Mei. As you can see, this one sports a very interesting looking Tyrannosaurus in here with a human figure. It appears to be maybe a skeleton over there and kind of like a treehouse or some sort of a fort in a tree, and then you've also got what appears to be an ATV down there. The box here looks really cool again, has that really nice image here on the right hand bottom side of the Tyrannosaurus chasing some human characters around, which I really quite love. And then as far as the back of the packaging goes, if I don't knock everything over back here behind it, you can see another image here of the Rex, kind of a sneak peek of the potential action feature, more of what is included in the box. And then down here we have some really awesome images of, again, Dino Valley and the dinosaurs interacting with the humans, as well as kind of a sneak peek of some of the vehicles included in the Dino Valley line. And then again, some more of a little bit of a sneak peek as far as other items included in this set. So let's go ahead, break this out of the box, and take a look at it. So as far as what is included in the set, we do have that kind of little treehouse deal that we were just speaking of, which I think looks really quite nice, actually. Definitely really well done sculpt-wise. And then you also have, and I don't know if he's going to be out of frame as well, yep, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is actually a really cool looking version of a Chap Mei style Tyrannosaurus Rex. We also have the little plant here that goes with the set overall, and then we have the ATV, and then we also have our human figure right here. We'll stand him up, and then we also have a little backpack that goes on the back of him. So quite a bit included with this set, and some really fun stuff overall. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get a closer look at everything right now. I did also forget to mention that, of course, we do have the skeleton, which I will break this apart, put it together, take a look at it once it's finished. I really love that we have things like a trilobite and stuff here on the side. Also, that's pretty cool. But if we bring up the star of the show, which is obviously the Tyrannosaurus Rex, we take a look at the head sculpt of the Rex. As per usual, when it comes to a Chap Mei figure, you could see that it is absolutely overloaded with really nice looking detail, beautiful scale detail all over the place. I like how the skin texture looks. It looks very interesting up here. You can see it has like almost a different approach in so many different areas as far as the overall texturing to the skin, and then you can kind of see some scales coming down from the upper side of the Rex, as well as kind of like some osteoderm-like scales that kind of run along the underside of the eye socket. These are almost osteoderm. Kind of, not really. It just almost looks like they're a little more elaborated, almost osteoderm-like, because of this purplish coloration that comes down from the upper side, kind of elaborates them a little bit more, I think. You can see, however, that there is also some nice scale detail here on the lower jaw. I like how there's like some really bumpy scales in certain areas, but then you also have like a really fine scaling to other areas of the lower jaw here that looks really cool. You can also see that the inside of the mouth, as far as the skin flap there, is sculpted out. There's not too much detailing in there, but there is some. We can also see that the teeth are really quite nicely sculpted, really quite nicely painted as well. The paint is a very bright white coloration that we see there. You can also see that over here. The teeth are not sculpted individually. They are all sculpted together, but I still think it looks quite nice. You can also see the tongue in there. Sports kind of a red plastic look, and I believe it's got that translucent look because of, again, the light up feature like we've seen on the last few Chap Mei figures. Same deal with the eyes. You don't see any type of pupil or anything like that, or eye color, because, again, it's a translucent style red for the light up feature. We do actually have an articulated jaw on this one, which is also really quite cool, but I believe that's part of the action feature, which is activated by these kind of almost quills that run along the back here. I guess they're more like very large ridges, but definitely pretty cool looking as far as that goes. We do have some screw holes, which is, again, something that you usually see as far as a Chap Mei figure goes, but this one is definitely an unfortunate screw hole up here on the face. However, this side looks beautiful. As we move up here into the top of the head, you can almost see like an armored type of a look to the upper side of this Tyrannosaurus. Very interesting take as far as the detailing aspect goes. The detail up here isn't quite as vibrant as you see in most places on a Chap Mei model, but I guess for like an armored type of an area, there's not really too much that you would really need to include. As you lead down into the neck, you can see some more really nice looking skin texture, lots of really nice skin wrinkles and stuff in the lower part of the throat, as well as some ridges and osteoderms that pick up here and there. You can see that we have this nice brownish coloration and then the purple that kind of runs down. As you continue to move down throughout the course of the body, you can see more kind of like osteoderms and ridges and stuff picking up throughout the dinosaur. Really nice looking skin texture throughout the stomach region as well. I think a nice dark wash would really do wonders on this type of a figure, which is obviously not something that you would normally see on the plastic style dinosaur toy, but I'm saying if you're repainting it, a nice dark wash would really crawl in between all those cracks and crevices quite beautifully. As you get up here into the arms, you can see that the arms are really quite muscular, definitely some nice muscle tone displayed in the arms. You have some scoots down the fingers, as well as some nicely sculpted out nails right there at the end of the fingers. They definitely look really cool. Again, you're not going to get accuracy, or at least so far in the Chap Mei line, we haven't had any type of accuracy within dinosaur figures, but I think that, again, it has that really cool stylized Chap Mei type of a feel, like most Chap Mei figures usually do, so that's a little bit of their charm, is how, because I mean, you can obviously tell that this arm is way too long to be accurate for a Tyrannosaurus, so that's kind of the reason why I'm stating this. Again, it's all basically the Chap Mei stylized dinosaur, but fingers crossed we get more accurate dinosaurs in the future, though. Again, I would really like a combination of both. But as you lead down here into the stomach and go to the underside, you can almost see, similar to the last few dinosaurs, actually almost like a crocodilian type of a scaling. Like it looks like it would be really soft here on the underside, sort of like the underside of a crocodile or a lizard. You can also see some ridges that poke up here on the top, and you can see there are quite a few different varying sizes of those ridges. They are a reddish coloration until we get to the area that actually has the action feature, and you can see there's a little hint of green in there in 3 different areas to give it a little bit of flashiness. As you come back here into the thigh, you can definitely see some nice muscle tone displayed back here as well. You've got more osteoderms all over the place back here, as well as some really nice looking skin texture. As you lead down into the calf region, again, some more osteoderms poking up. You can also see the calf muscle is quite nicely displayed. You have a very nice looking foot sculpt down here with some more nicely sculpted out nails. Again, a scoot-like appearance down the toes, similar to what we had seen on the hand. Also some nice creasing right here in the bend of the leg and the ankle area. We do have this extra toe here, which I think somebody recently in the comments section had mentioned that it's probably for balance, which I completely understand that that's most definitely what it's for, but again, that's not something you would normally see on a Tyrannosaurus. Would be a toe back there and a nail, but the Chap Mei figures are kind of from Dino Valley, which is modern times with dinosaurs living within human beings, so, they may have evolved into this type of a look, who knows. But as we lead up here into the tail, again, you can see some more of that purple coloration coming back here. It starts to spot down in a few spots, as opposed to striping like we've seen the rest of the way, and then it transitions to just the brown as we lead out the length of the tail, and you have some more really nice looking sculpt and detail, as well as a beautiful curve in the tail, nice, almost an elegant looking curve. And then as we take a look at the opposing side, the neck area and everything, and even the stomach region, for the most part, I don't think you're really going to see too much difference. In fact, even the arms appear to be exactly the same, just, reversed on this side. Even the fingers appear to be in the same position. You're not going to see too much difference as far as the sculpting and detailing aspect, because the figure is facing straight forward. So there's really not going to be too much difference, but you can see the screw holes again over here. There are a few in different areas that you can see poking up here and there. The leg looks almost the same as the opposing leg, but it's stretched out a little bit more as this leg is taking a step forward. You can see that there's less of a bend in the ankle and stuff. It's just stretched out a little bit more so than what we had seen on the previous side. Foot sculpt looks pretty much the same though. And then as we lead back up into the tail, you can see a little bit of difference on this side as opposed to the opposing side. Again, some more screw holes as you lead out to the end of the tail, which is, again, something that you do quite often see from the Chap Mei line. You can also see that the purplish coloration again ends right here, but that armored type of a look runs out the length of the entire tail. So it is a pretty cool looking figure for sure. Definitely a fun, sort of an off-the-wall, exaggerated Tyrannosaurus. Then we also have the Treehouse here that is included, and honestly, this is definitely something that I feel like kids would love, absolutely love, to have a playset like this. It's got a lot of possibilities as far as playability goes, but you can also see that the actual detailing aspect to this is really nicely done, especially if you look at the tree. Like, that tree looks really quite beautifully sculpted overall. Even as you reach the ground and you see the earthy area, you can see that there's quite a bit of kind of like laying leaves and stuff that have fallen off of the tree down here, I guess from when they were actually building that. So that's actually a pretty cool little touch. You also have the ladder back here that they have built to get into their treehouse. You have some vegetation, of course, some of the leaves of the tree over here, which as well are really quite nicely sculpted, painted with a green. The rest of everything is painted with a brown, the same coloration of brown, except for, of course, the symbol here on the front, and then that area is painted with a silverish type of a coloration. You have more of the leaves up here. The tree branch, again, is just as beautifully sculpted as the rest of the tree. And then you also have another area over here, and then you can actually see within the kind of treehouse area up here and take a look at the back. There's not too much going on back here because, again, the tree is hollow and you just basically have the rear of the toy, the figure, but definitely looks great from the front. And then we also have this type of vegetation, which we have seen in quite a few sets before. I actually can recall seeing this one before, but it's actually quite nicely sculpted, something that would as well look really cool with a repaint. Quite nicely sculpted overall for what it is. Like, you can really see some nice detailing, especially like right here within that area of like what appears to be a broken down tree stump. You can see how nicely detailed the actual tree stump is. So that's a pretty cool little addition, definitely something that I feel like kids would enjoy. And then we have our human figure, which I think looks really, really quite nice. Like, he's got some beautiful paintwork to him. You can see he's got a little bit of a beard going on. He's got sort of like some goggles up here on the top of his head. And they've actually applied a lot of paintwork to it. Like, you could see all of the little gadgets here on his chest and everything are painted out with a silver coloration. And they did not get lazy, it seems, in pretty much any area on this figure. Like, it's really, really nicely done. You have the backpack here now on the back of our human figure. I think this is actually a great human figure for a set like this. You have some beautiful articulation as well, nice and smooth articulation on this guy, and you can see that the knees and everything, the hip area works really well. You also have shoulder articulation and elbow articulation. They can move out away from the body. And we do have head articulation, well, neck articulation as well. So really well done as far as the human figure goes in both the sculpt, paint, and the articulation. It's really smooth articulation also, which I quite like. Definitely a very cool figure. And then we have our ATV, which sports that kind of Dino Valley logo right there. You can see that as well is sculpted out quite nicely. There is even some articulation on this. You can move these guns here in the front. Of course, the handlebars move quite nicely. You can lift this up, put that down, and then you, of course, have the articulation of the wheels that would move, which, you know, that's kind of an essential area of this type of a figure. And you can also move this actually left and right, which is really cool. But the sculpt is quite beautiful. You have some decent paintwork, but nothing over the top. But it definitely looks really, really quite nice overall, and is a really cool addition to this set that, again, I think kids would absolutely love. And then we have our skeleton, which as far as the sculpt goes, you can see it looks really, really nice, but I'm quite intrigued to see what it will actually look like put together. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now, and then we'll just check it out when it's put together. So here is our little Tyrannosaurus skeleton, and although it's definitely not the most appealing T-Rex skeleton that I've ever seen, he's still pretty fun as just a random little extra. Definitely something that I absolutely think kids would get a huge kick out of, and just generally a fun little addition, as well as giving you something to do when it comes to actually putting it together. You know, it's a fun few minutes assembly as far as this figure goes. Even though he's not great, he's still pretty fun. So as far as articulation on our Tyrannosaurus goes, we do of course have the articulated jaw, which we've already mentioned. You can also see those quills on the back. Well, I guess they're ridges. Like, they keep looking like quills to me, but they're ridges here on the back. Moving around, you can see them move with the jaw movement, because again, that's part of the action feature. And then you can also see the arms move really smooth on both arms, definitely really nicely done there. And then you have articulation in the legs, which also moves really smoothly. Like, it has some really, really beautifully operating limbs as far as the articulation goes. And now we'll go ahead and activate the action feature, which of course is also going to activate the light and sound. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll turn the lights down a little bit here, see if we can get a better look at that. So you can see the eyes light up, the tongue lights up as well, and it makes a pretty interesting dinosaur noise. I actually really quite like the dinosaur noise. It's almost an old school sort of a dinosaur noise as far as the noise goes. I really do quite like that. And the Rex in general has almost a kind of an old school style to him. But as far as the size goes, for a length on our Rex, you're looking at about the 13-inch range, or about 33 centimeters. And then for a height, when it's standing in this position, you can alter the positioning of the figure to however you pretty much want. It's at about the 7-inch range, or about the 18-centimeter area, maybe more like 17.5 centimeters, closing in on 18, but definitely nicely sized. For a size comparison, there is an absolute plethora of Chap Mei now in front of us. As you can see, some old school figures as far as the Elasmosaurus and the Suchomimus over here. And then we also have the Carnotaurus and Dilophosaurus, which I've recently reviewed, next to our Tyrannosaurus and just in general being included in the overall set. And you can see that the Dino Valley line overall looks really cool. Definitely something that I feel like kids will absolutely love. I know my child has enjoyed the Dino Valley line for a very long time. When Toys R Us was still around here in the United States, he used to buy them constantly. He was always in love with these figures, and you can see that they still have such an enormous appeal factor to them, and as far as a playability factor goes, they're pretty much off the charts because they include so much fun stuff with the figures that kids will love them, but also collectors will enjoy them as well. So this Chap Mei Tyrannosaurus set is definitely a fun set from Chap Mei. I think the inclusion of all of the extras was a nice choice. And on top of including so many extras, they look really good for the most part. Like the Treehouse area, when you get nice and close and take a look at how well done the sculpt is, it's quite impressive overall. Like, they really put a lot of effort into the sculpts of their figures, which is something you can always say as far as the Chap Mei line goes. They always provide really beautifully detailed sculpts, and you can see that throughout pretty much every aspect of the set, but definitely in that treehouse. You also have that really fun little skeleton. He's just kind of a cute little extra, nothing amazing, but he is a nice addition to the set. And then you have the ATV and the human figure. The ATV is fun, also sports some pretty fun articulation on it overall, and the human figure is absolutely awesome. I definitely love the human figure that is included in this line. He looks cool. He's painted really nicely, sculpted really nicely, includes some really fun articulations. So definitely a really cool addition to this set, and also somebody your Tyrannosaurus can eat. You also have that little set of Vegetation, which we have seen in previous sets in the past, but it's always fun to see it included again. And then you have the Tyrannosaurus himself, which is a really cool figure. I definitely quite like him. He's got a beautiful sculpt detail-wise, really nice and vibrant fine detailing to the figure overall. Like, the detail really pops on the figure, and that is also something that I can consistently say about the Chap Mei line. They usually have a really vibrant amount of detail on their figures, and you can see that throughout this entire Rex here. The ridges that run along the back as well look really nice, and I like how they've kind of hidden the action feature a little bit with those extra large ridges on the back, because even though it's kind of obvious where the action feature is, it actually makes it look a little cooler having those larger ridges in the middle of the back. It definitely looks really neat, and I like the flashiness of the coloration on the ridges that run along the back and in that area. Not so sold on that little area of green, but the reddish coloration looks cool. You also have some nice purples and browns throughout the figure, and that as well is nicely applied, and overall looks pretty cool. A really nice natural coloration, I would say, as far as this Rex goes. You have a light up feature, which this time is a huge plus because it sports a dinosaur-like noise, which is almost a vintage-style dinosaur-like noise, as well as the light-up eyes and tongue, which is something that we had seen on the last few. Well, actually, no, I think only on the Carnotaurus. The Dilophosaurus had the light-up frill, but we've seen that, previously, and I think it's really nicely executed here by Chap Mei, and also the addition of a dinosaur noise as opposed to a Godzilla noise is a huge, huge plus, if you ask me. And if you take all of that and combine it into the fact that this is all included in one set, it's definitely a win, if you ask me, and a pretty fun release yet again from Chap Mei. So if you would like to pick this up, your best bet is probably to check Big Lots, because I do believe that's the only place in the United States that I personally know of that sells Chap Mei. There may be other places, and I'm just not familiar with it, like, smaller mom and pop shops, they may have them, but as far as like bigger stores go, I do know Big Lots carries them. I have seen them there quite a few times. I will include a link in the description to the Chap Mei website where the listing for this figure will actually tell you what stores sell Chap Mei, so that might help you a little bit, especially if you're not in the United States. It'll tell you what stores in your country sell Chap Mei, so it'll help make getting a hold of these a little easier. But definitely another fun set from Chap Mei, and definitely a set that I recommend picking up if you do in fact encounter it. But otherwise, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.